Verses 16 to 22. Issue joined between Moses and his accusers. Moses challenges them to appear with Aaron next morning, at the time of offering up the morning incense, and refer the matter to God's judgment, v. 16:17. Since he could not convince them by his calm and affectionate reasoning, he is ready to enter into bonds to stand God's award, not doubting but that God would appear, to decide the controversy. This reference he had agreed to before, v. 6:7, and here adds only one clause, which bespeaks his great condescension to the plaintiffs, that Aaron, against whose advancement they accepted, though now advanced by the divine institution to the honor of burning incense within the tabernacle, yet, upon this trial, should put himself into the place of a probationer, and stand upon the level with Korah, at the door of the tabernacle, nay, and Moses himself would stand with them, so that the complainant shall have all the fair dealing he can desire, and thus every mouth shall be stopped. Korah accepts the challenge, and makes his appearance with Moses and Aaron at the door of the tabernacle, to make good his pretensions, v. 18:19. If he had not had a very great stock of impudence, he could not have carried on the matter thus far. Had not he lately seen Nadab and Abihu, the consecrated priests, struck dead for daring to offer incense with unhallowed fire? And could he and his accomplices expect to fare any better in offering incense with unhallowed hands? Yet, to confront Moses and Aaron, in the height of his pride he thus bids defiance to heaven, and pretends to demand the divine acceptance without a divine warrant. Thus wretchedly is the heart hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. They took every man his censer. Perhaps these were some of the censers which these heads of families had made use of at their family altars, before this part of religious service was confined to the priesthood and the altar in the tabernacle, and they would bring them into use and reputation again, or they might be common chafing dishes, which were for their ordinary use. Now to attend the solemn trial, and to be witness of the issue, one would have thought Moses should have gathered the congregation against the rebels, but it seems Korah gathered them against Moses, v. 19, which intimates that a great part of the congregation sided with Korah, were at his beck, and wished him success, and that Korah's hopes were very high of carrying the point against Aaron, for, had he suspected the event, he would not have coveted to make the trial thus public, but little did he think that he was now calling the congregation together to be the witnesses of his own confusion. Note, proud and ambitious men, while they are projecting their own advancement, often prove to have been hurrying on their own shameful fall. The judgment set, and the judge taking the tribunal, and threatening to give sentence against the whole congregation. The glory of the Lord appeared, v. 19. The same glory that appeared to install Aaron in his office at first, Leviticus 9:23, now appeared to confirm him in it, and to confound those that oppose him, and set up themselves in competition with him. The Shekinah, or divine majesty, the glory of the eternal Word, which ordinarily dwelt between the cherubim within the veil, now was publicly seen over the door of the tabernacle, to the terror of the whole congregation, for, though they saw no manner of similitude, yet probably the appearances of the light and fire were such as plainly showed God to be angry with them, as when he appeared, ch 14:10. Nothing is more terrible to those who are conscious of guilt than the appearances of divine glory, for such a glorious being must needs be a formidable enemy. God threatened to consume them all in a moment, and, in order to that, bade Moses and Aaron stand from among them, v. 21. God thus showed what their sin deserved, and how very provoking it was to him. See what a dangerous thing it is to have fellowship with sinners, and in the least to partake with them. Many of the congregation, it is likely, came only for company, following the crowd, or for curiosity, to see the issue, yet not coming, as they ought to have done, to bear their testimony against the rebels, and openly to declare for God and Moses. They had like to have been all consumed in a moment. If we follow the herd into which the devil has entered, it is at our peril. The humble intercession of Moses and Aaron for the congregation, v. 22. Their posture was importuning, they fell on their faces, prostrating themselves before God, as supplicants in good earnest, that they might prevail for sparing mercy. Though the people had treacherously deserted them, and struck in with those that were in arms against them, yet they approved themselves faithful to the trusts reposed in them, as shepherds of Israel, who were to stand in the breach when they saw the flock in danger. Note: if others fail in their duty to us, this does not discharge us from our duty to them, nor take off the obligations we lie under to seek their welfare. Their prayer was a pleading prayer, and it proved a prevailing one. Now God would have destroyed them if Moses had not turned away his wrath. PS 106:23, yet far be it from us to imagine that Moses was more considerate or more compassionate than God in such a case as this, but God saw fit to show his just displeasure against the sin of sinners by the sentence, and at the same time to show his gracious condescension to the prayers of the saints, by the revocation of the sentence at the intercession of Moses. Observe in the prayer the title they give to God, the God of the spirits of all flesh. See what man is: he is a spirit in flesh, a soul embodied, a creature wonderfully compounded of heaven and earth. See what God is: he is the God of the spirits of all mankind. He forms the spirit, Zech 12:1. He fathers it, Hebrew 12:9. He has an ability to fashion it, PS 33:15, and authority to dispose of it, for he has said, "All souls are mine," Is 18:4. They insinuate hereby that though, as the God of the spirits of all flesh, he might in sovereignty consume this congregation in a moment, yet it was to be hoped that he would in mercy spare them, not only because they were the work of his own hands, and he had a propriety in them, but because, being the God of spirits, he knew their frame, and could distinguish between the leaders and the led, between those who sinned maliciously and those who were drawn in by their wiles, and would make a difference accordingly in his judgments. The argument they insist on, it is much the same with that which Abraham urged in his intercession for Sodom, General 18:23. Wilt thou destroy the righteous with the wicked? Such is the plea here: shall one man sin, and wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation? Not but that it was the sin of them all to join in this matter, but the great transgression was his that first hatched the treason. Note: whatever God may do in sovereignty and strict justice, we have reason to hope that he will not destroy a congregation for the sin of one, but that, righteousness and peace having kissed each other in the undertaking of the Redeemer, mercy shall rejoice against judgment. Moses knew that all the congregation must perish in the wilderness by degrees, yet he is thus earnest in prayer that they might not be consumed at once, and would reckon it a favor to obtain a reprieve. Lord, let it alone this year.